So have you guys been reading anything recently? Any books, comics?
I've been rereading
Ooh, what you rereading?
the whole Drit series basically because since the last time I read it, like a dozen books have come out. So, like, it's been long enough that I need to like refresh the old noggin
That's fair.
because I remember like great general brushstrokes, but like detail work, it's what?
I've only read Homeland, and that's it. I need to read the others.
I mean, it's Drist, man. What you need to know? What you need to remember? He he's a cool guy. He's got the two swords. That's all you need to know, right?
Well, like I said, I've read them before, and there's like a dozen books since I last read them. That's enough that I need to reread. It's been
People
long enough.
people making more Drist books? That's crazy.
Salvatore hasn't stopped.
You want to know how many Drist books I've read?
This could
Take
be a
like an honest guess.
this
Take an
could be a
honest
trick
guess.
question, but I'm gonna say 5 at least.
Are you about to just shit on it just cuz?
No, I'm asking a legitimate question. How many Drist books do you think I've read?
None.
There you go. That's it. Got it in one, baby.
I
Yeah.
It's amazing how much I know about Driss, considering I've read no books and I don't actually know what he's from. Like, if you say what's Driss from, I would just say D&D. I don't know like what the
I mean,
name,
that's fair.
the specific world is.
I mean, that's
He's from the
fair.
Forgotten Realms. Literally everything we played in on all of our stuff that's been in
Well, you got
D&D.
yeah. You also gotta take into account
Is
that
it Forgotten Realms like a video game series?
Forgotten
I
Realms
always
is
thought-
literally a whole setting.
yeah, it's just the setting for a lot of D&D stuff
Forgotten Realms goes back to at least the 80s.
for sure. Second edition.
I want to say the late 70s, but I might be wrong on that. I know at least the 80s.
Well,
Because originally, Salvatore was supposed to take over and do a spin-off series of another guy's character that he... because he was going to stop writing all those stories. And then he ended up killing everybody or that character off. And Salvatore had to then go, shit, and start his own thing.
So, I looked it up.
Originally, Wolfgar was supposed to be the main character, and Dritz was literally thought up in a half-hour conversation with his agent in the car.
So I looked it up. The Forgotten Realms was originally developed by Ed Greenwood around 1967.
I didn't realize it went back to first.
Well, originally it was a setting for his own like stories that he would write, and then it didn't enter publication in D&D stuff until 1987.
Okay, there we go. There's the distinction.
Yeah, because the TSR decided that it would be a good setting for AD&D second edition as a counterpart to Dragonlance.
And they were right, because look how much it's fucking blown up.
Yeah, it's
how much
probably the most popular setting for D&D.
Like, seriously, Baldur's Gate, literally their biggest fucking thing ever.
The D&D movie, or Honor Among Thieves anyway, the original D&D movie I think was Greyhawk. I think. I could be very wrong about that. It's been a long time.
The one with Jeremy Irons?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, fuck, is that in Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk?
I believe it's either Greyhawk or like an original setting they made for that movie. And boy, that movie, I haven't seen it in a while, but I just remember it being real bad.
See, I like it for its bad cheese factor, but I like bad movies.
You know what? That's fair.
Like, I'm a huge MST fan, so like, I got a soft spot for for schlock.
Right.
But
I mean, it's not that bad. Like when you go and watch it, it's
there's definitely worse fantasy movies. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
True. It's not like a Sci-Fi Channel fantasy movie.
Right.
Yeah. But it is a fantasy movie made before Lord of the Rings, so
Yeah.
you can feel that.
Honestly, that movie is carried a lot on the names in it just because they're decent to good actors.
Dude, there's a Wayans brother in that movie.
Yeah, which not
Some would
the
say
first name I think of for D&D.
Some would say the funny Wayne's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really argue with that.
And
You know what's crazy? That movie was distributed by New Line Cinema, who would go on and be involved in all the Lord of the Rings products.
yeah. Well, because New Line's one of the only companies at that time that's willing to take a chance on that would be probably willing to take a chance on fantasy that wasn't a no wait, hang on. New Line. Is New Line the Disney one?
New Line
No,
is Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Miramax, I believe, is the Disney one.
Miramax, yeah. Aside from Disney's Miramax, because Disney loves its fantasy shit, they'd probably be the only one willing to do fantasy movies.
Yeah, New
Everyone
Line
else
was also
was-
heavy into horror too.
Yeah.
New Line. I mean, fucking.
They also did
New
Austin
Line,
Powers.
Yeah, they like sticking their fingers in all sorts of time.
They're like, all right, we're gonna get a little bit of comedy, we're gonna get a little bit of splatter, we're gonna get a little bit of slasher movie in there, and then
I remember they're the ones who distributed Turtles when it
Yeah.
came out.
yeah,
One of the first comic book movies.
and then the highest grossing fantasy franchise of all time, probably.
I was gonna say, wasn't New Line's Warner Brothers, but it didn't start out as a Warner Brothers, didn't it?
Turner
Maybe it
Entertainment is what it says on the Wikipedia
Yeah.
timeline.
Turner
Oh, and
would,
then-
I think, still be Warner.
But it's like yeah.
But I'm looking at their top 10 highest grossing films, and like the first 6 spots are all Lord of the Rings,
You got to go past that a little bit.
followed by It Chapter 1,
Okay.
and then
I got
followed by a movie you would not expect to be in the top 10 in the top 10 list of highest grossing New Line movies.
Well, okay.
San Andreas.
Okay. But I want you to take a look at that worldwide gross between number 7 It and number 8 San Andreas, right?
Yeah, it is a $300 million difference.
Yeah.
At which point all the rest of them are less than 500 million, right?
True.
And then you start seeing the good shit, like the Sex and the City movie, fucking The Mask, Rush Hour 2. Yeah, I'd say Rush Hour 2 is...
Elf?
It made more than
Elf
one.
is down there.
Yeah, Elf didn't make a lot of money when it came out, you remember? I mean, it didn't flop.
Elf came out in
Completely.
2003?
Yeah, Elf
Yeah,
old as
feeling
fuck,
old
man.
yet?
I fucking thought that movie came out in like 2006 or 7.
Nah, man. Dude, that was
Yeah.
Elf. Elf is what helped make Will Ferrell.
Okay,
You
so
want
maybe
to try that again?
so maybe 2006 or 7
No,
was around the time
Will
that I got
Ferrell
the
was
DVD for it.
Well-known comedian, but he would at that point in time you could firmly establish him as one of the people on Saturday Night Live who wasn't making very good movies. At that point in time, the only other there's only aside from like the 80s characters, the only person from like 90s onward Saturday Night Live who'd really made it is fucking Happy Gilmore. I forgot his name.
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. No one else,
Will Ferrell is well known, and he was well known before Elf.
I'd
Elf
say
gave him a resurgence in his career.
I'd say Elf is one
didn't
of the
make
big
it.
pushes. It didn't, but I'd say it's one of the big pushes into him being a movie star, right? Like he was well known, but I think Elf, because around the same time, wasn't Anchorman around the same time too? How old is Anchorman?
Yeah, Anchorman is 2004.
Yeah, so like around the same time, he had like those movies, and those really pushed him.
And then not long after that, he had Bewitched, and then Talladega Nights.
See, the problem is then you hit Bewitched, and it's like, oh, we still have a couple of movies where.
Oh yeah, he also had a bit part in the second Austin Powers. Oh, he had bit parts in the first two Austin Powers.
Yeah,
I was saying, he was the.
I haven't watched the first Austin Powers a lot in a long time. The ones that I rewatched the most were Spy Who Shagged Me and Goldmember.
He's not He's the Irish or Scottish Irish
No,
like
He wears a fez.
uh
He wears a fez.
yeah.
oh no, he wears a fez. Okay, I couldn't remember if he was the Irish
Oh yeah,
hitman who went after him.
he's
Or not.
Mustafa.
I would say if you would have said old school, I could give you, because that's where he got real big for movies. But I don't agree with Elf being the start.
Well, it's because in my mind, Elf is when that's a big enough movie. Even kids, even like younger people, are like, yeah, Will Ferrell. I mean, that's when I learned about Will Ferrell, really, because I didn't watch any fucking. I definitely did not watch like post Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Saturday Night Live. I did not watch Saturday Night Live too much after that. So I only remember him from like one or two skits, and so I didn't remember him basically. Like, and then Elf was when I was like, oh, Will Ferrell, and that's when everyone I knew also was like, oh, because like that was a big children's movie. Like, yeah, Old School is really good, but also like Old School is very much older person comedy. So
I've never seen Old School.
2004 and 5 are literally his most prolific years.
Yeah.
oh, absolutely, yeah. But it's also when he like
4 movies in 2004, 6 in 2005.
Welcome to the Will Ferrell cast.
Jeez, I just didn't realize he put out that many in that short a time frame.
No, yeah. And
Like-
that's a lot of fucking movies.
well, because he, like I said, he was still like still
And, like,
pretty much up and coming, trying to still kind of figuring out where he fits. At least the movie
admittedly,
studios were.
Yeah.
One of those is Starsky and Hutch, where he doesn't really have a big part that I remember.
Yeah, Wikipedia even says uncredited for that role.
Yeah, I'm looking at just his page, which has just a selected filmography, which I'm assuming is just the ones he's main lining in at least a major part, and it's like okay, 2001 Zoolander, yeah.
Now,
That's probably where I first remember seeing him, but and then you have like Old School 3.
The two on here that I don't like, Starsky and Hutch, he's not a big part, and then the Wendell Baker story, I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that either.
It's a Wilson Brothers vehicle.
I'd say 2005. I see
That
3
literally
movies
has
that
Luke and Owen Wilson in it.
Yeah. 2005, he's in 3 movies where he's at least a featured person. The Producers, Bewitched, and Kicking and Screaming. 2006 is also, Stranger Than Fiction, Talladega Nights, and Curious
Producers.
George.
Oh yeah, he was
love
the
that
fucking
movie.
yellow hat man in Curious George.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
See, the problem is
about
that's mid 2000s, where we start getting into like, oh, that's right. Like, everyone remembers Talladega Nights, but you forget Curious George or Blades of Glory.
No, a lot of people remember Blades of Glory. Semi-Pro is the one people don't remember.
I've never watched
Semi-Pro.
Blades of Glory.
Step Brothers, the other guys.
I have seen Step Brothers.
Yeah, Step Brothers is really good. Land of the Lost. I like Land of the Lost.
That one was all right.
And then Megamind.
See, and then that's 2010, and I would say that would be what I would call the re-emergence of Will Ferrell. When
Right.
That's when he, like, I think, firmly established. It's like, okay, everybody knows he's real funny. Put him in shit.
You know, he was really good in Barbie.
I've not seen Barbie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man, he plays the CEO of Mattel.
It sounds, yeah.
And it's fucking
sounds about
off
right.
the walls.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
They really let him get super Jim Carrey with it.
well, that's not something I'd expect him to be in.
What?
What?
A Deadly Adoption.
What is that?
Black comedy thriller about a successful couple who take in and care for a 6 months pregnant woman after losing their second unborn child. They are hoping to be able to adopt the new baby, but taking a total stranger into their house is taking a terrible risk. Nothing about that screams Will Ferrell to me. It's got a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.1 on IMDb.
Ooh.
No, but you know what that does sound like? That does sound like the exact kind of like
Kristen
fucking-
Wiig's in it.
that sounds like the exact kind of terrible drama slash thriller movie that a comedian would be in to try to.
Except it's not a drama; it's a black comedy.
Yeah, potato.
I mean, I looked at I went to the Wikipedia and it says it's a drama. The two genres are drama and thriller.
I'm on its IMDb and it says black comedy. So
Well, it's a movie that did not
All
great.
of them. Yeah. It's a movie that has Kristen Wiig in it. That can tell you everything you need to know about it.
yeah, like
It's bad. I bet.
yeah, when the star power is her and Will, that's I literally do not recognize any other names on this. Yeah, that's not what I expect out of funny haha Will Ferrell.
No, I was like, no, but it does sound like I hear that and I just think of like, what was it? Like fucking Adam's Punch Drunk Love? Some fucking terrible, more serious, no comedy, more serious movie.
Look,
Or at least trying to be more serious.
I haven't paid much attention to Adam Sandler since Click.
Man, I didn't even like Click that much.
Yeah, it was
good.
all right.
I watched Pixels because I wanted to see, and it feels like a fucking 1998 movie made in like 2010.
All I have seen of Pixels is the last 20-ish minutes because it was on before Dynamite or Collision or something.
Yeah.
It's not good. And like, and not even in like a funny way, in like a
It's just bad.
it's an hour and a half long bad SNL skit.
Ugh.
That
No.
does sound like
that
a lot of Adam Sandler movies.
Now that being said, I just today saw a trailer for a movie coming out from Adam Sandler called Spaceman that does look a little interesting, where it seems he plays like an astronaut that's been like on a space station for like a few years now and seemingly can't leave. I don't know if it's just because of like his mission or he's just not allowed to or something. But he misses like his wife and stuff, and the main thrust of the movie looks like a giant spider shows up claiming it's an alien, and he's pretty sure he's just going crazy, but he goes on a little journey of self-discovery about like how he feels about his wife and stuff with it.
Yeah, I got the premise pulled up here from Wikipedia. It says, as an astronaut...
Kind of, hold on real quick. Sounds like something similar to when Carrie did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sounds like it's in that same kind of vein of where, yeah, there's funny parts, but like you're gonna kind of feel awkward laughing at them because you're laughing at somebody's possible mental breakdown.
Yeah, it definitely has that same kind of like Eternal Sunshine feel.
Yeah, I have the...
Okay, you're right. That's got me kind of... It's got my curiosity.
Got the premise here. It says, as an astronaut sent to the edge of the solar system to collect mysterious ancient dust finds his earthly life falling to pieces, he turns to the only voice who can help him try to put it back together. Just so happens to belong to a creature from the beginning of time lurking in the shadows of his ship. And the voice of this extraterrestrial spider creature is Paul Dano.
That's who that was. Okay, yeah.
Remind me, the name's familiar.
He just played the Riddler in the Batman.
Yeah. Batman.
And the Pattinson one?
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on my to-watch list.
Same. It's still on my to-watch list.
Oh.
I've heard it's all right.
Apparently, this movie, Spaceman, is being produced by Channing Tatum.
What?
Yeah. Directed by Johan Renck, produced by Channing Tatum. And like 6 other people.
It looks interesting. But it also does look like a not very expensive movie, but not like in a bad way, just like in a,
Yeah.
You can I could see that. As indie a movie you could get when you have fucking Adam Sandler as the main lead.
It's going directly to Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another one of those.
Yeah.
Well, didn't his last directed Netflix one get real good reviews?
Hubie Halloween?
No.
Is that the one?
The one where it involves a diamond heist or something.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Uncut Gems?
Yeah, apparently Uncut Gems was really good. And so was Hubie Halloween, from what I've heard.
I've not heard of either of those fucking two movies. I've heard of the Uncut Gems meme, but I didn't know that they made like a movie.
Yeah, no, that's a Netflix or one of the doesn't he have
Oh,
like 6
shit.
or 8 movie deal with them that he's got to make for him?
The guy directing Spaceman is the one who did the Chernobyl miniseries that fucking everybody loved.
Oh. I'm going to keep this one on my radar. This sounds
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
enough.
It's based
Watch
on
the
a
trailer. It just caught my eye. And normally I don't watch trailers, but like I checked it out and it was actually really interesting. So I was like, oh, I'll give this a shot.
It's based on a book too. The book is called Spaceman of Bohemia,
If I go quiet for a bit, I'm watching it.
and it's very it's a Czech Republic book from the Czech Republic. So yeah, that's definitely on my radar. So stuff that I've been reading. I read the first Dresden Files book, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. Little fast-paced for my taste. And I don't like Harry Dresden's old school chivalry, as he calls it.
That gets better as it goes on.
That's what I've heard.
Fair warning, it does not go completely away, but there's also an argument to be made that's Harry's character.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one that acts that way. Everybody and the other characters call him on it. It's one of those things like, can you deal with it? If so, you're in for a great series, but I understand where it bothers people.
Yeah, I can definitely deal with it. It's just after the third woman he's describing being curvaceous, I'm like, all right, guy, come on.
Also remember, he's going for a deliberate thing there because the first 2 novels were still trying to be very much in the noir feel.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was written in fucking 2000. Like,
as much as I love
90s.
Jim Butcher, he's not exactly great at doing the straight up noir.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of what he was trying to do with those first 2. That's
Yeah.
why everybody says that it picks up from 3 on.
Yeah, it's definitely something I could deal with. But like I said, I thought it was okay. It kind of felt like eating junk food. And I mean that in a respectful way. Like, it was just quick. It was satisfying. And now I'm on to the next thing. I also actually started reading Dracula
Be on my radar.
for once. And Dracula, let me tell you, is good so far. Is real good. There's a reason that's stuck around for so long.
I have to ask because it threw me off when I first read it. Because I'd always had it played up that it was such a great book and everything, and I go to read it, and then I read it, and it's broken up as a bunch of letters.
Yeah, it's I don't know how to.
Did it take you a little bit to get used to that?
No, because I've read books in a similar manner before.
Okay, see, that was the first one I'd read like that, so I'm like, wait, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I think how you pronounce the word is epistolary. But yeah, it's made. If anyone doesn't know, Dracula is made up of quote unquote found letters and journal entries in like ship ledgers, stuff of that nature.
There is a sequel written by, is it Brahms' grandson?
I'm not sure. Would that be Dracula's daughter, or is that just a movie?
I don't remember what it's titled. I know the author's name is, and I'm going to butcher this. I think it's Dacre Stoker. It's Dacre, but it's based on notes and stuff left by Brahm. So I don't know if it was shit that was cut from the original and he decided to write a sequel with it, or if it was a planned sequel that Brahm just never got around to writing.
Okay, so I looked it up. Dacre is his great grandnephew.
Okay, I knew he was related to him. I just didn't remember what the relation was.
All right, and it looks like he did write a prequel to Dracula called Dracul.
I thought he wrote a sequel.
Because of Stoker's frustrating history with Dracula's copyright, Dacre, I don't know how to pronounce it either. With encouragement from screenwriter Ian Holt, decided to write a, quote, sequel that bore the Stoker name to reestablish creative control over the original novel. In 2009, Dracula the Undead was released.
Okay, that's what
That's
I'm
the
thinking
one.
of.
Yeah, Dracula the Undead.
I have not read that, so I cannot speak to its quality.
Me neither. But yeah, going through Dracula, I also picked up the precursor to Dracula, a short novella called Carmilla, which
Oh,
is
I thought you were talking like the original vampire story, Varney.
No, I have not picked that up, but I have picked up Carmilla. And if you know anything about Carmilla, it's going to be sapphic.
Yeah.
It's going to be real gay. And I like that. I also started The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And I'm already about 300 pages into it, and I really, really like it so far.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Because I've been borrowing it from Jake for like 2 years at this point.
You should have just given it back so you don't have to join our ranks.
The ranks of painlessly waiting for the third book. Or painfully
Jesus Christ,
waiting.
we've been waiting so long. So long. Oh, it's coming. Yeah, sure it is. Sure it is, Pat. Like, I don't know who is, like, the harder to believe on, oh, it's coming anytime, him or fucking Martin at this point.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm glad I never got into, not just because of having to wait for books, but just glad in general that I haven't gotten into Game of Thrones.
Look, I still haven't watched anything past the first season.
I've never watched the show. I've never read the books. All I know about it is that sometimes there's dragons and sometimes there's a hot lady that controls the dragons.
sometimes there's dragons, sometimes there's not. I don't know.
There's a reason they tell you not to get attached to characters with it. I'll just confirm that.
Yeah.
And it's a really shitty reason.
Yeah, no, lots of people die. Lots of death.
And not like, and not like good death, like, what's the fucking point in this other than to just like, oh, people die. I'm like, cool, thanks, Martin. I mean,
How many of them have you read?
I've read one, and then I looked up what happens in others because I can't. Like, there's a lot of books, and I wanted to know if I should even attempt it. And it was like, nah. And I was like, cool, thanks. Like, I read what happened, and it was like, no, don't. And I was like, cool, good.
Okay. Yeah, no.
I'm glad I didn't waste time.
Yeah, I'll argue there's a handful that it's like, oh, that's just killing them off for the sake of killing them off. Most of them do end up having a reason.
Yeah.
And also, never forget Chekhov's gun.
No. Yeah.
No. It's a different thing. There's another thing where it's like, when in doubt, have a man show up with a gun.
I was gonna say, that's not Chekhov's gun.
It's kind of the same thing. Chekhov's gun. Like, if something's brought up that sounds inconsequential about somebody's family,
oh, it's called Chandler's Law.
Don't forget it. It's Chekhov's family in this case.
Yeah.
If something's brought up about somebody's family, as inconsequential as it sounds, don't forget it. It's probably going to be brought up sometime later, and it's going to be significant.
Yeah, and then there's Chandler's Law, which is when in doubt, have a man come through the door with a gun in his hand. But that's
that
more
one
if you're
I'm not familiar with.
That's more if you're writing like pulp noir stuff.
Okay, fair.
So yeah, that's what I've been reading. I added a ton of books to my like to be read list. Like Second Stormlight Archive, there's 3 Chuck Tingle books that I want to read.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through the Second Stormlight. I'm still getting through the original Mistborn trilogy. I have up to book 6.
Man, Mistborn rules. I need to start Era 2 though. I haven't started Era 2.
Are you is that the one where it's more getting into the steampunk style?
Yeah, that's Wax and Wayne. Era 2 is Wax and Wayne.
I think I have at least the first book for that one. I might have the second, but I'm about a third to half into the second original trilogy.
You know what's on my to read list is the book that started a show that I've been kind of like hyper obsessed with the last month or two, and that would be Good Omens.
Yeah, that's a good book. That's a good, fun little book.
I did start listening to it on audiobook, but I also want to get like a physical copy of the book. But
who's doing the reading?
it's the cast from the show.
Oh, perfect.
Very good.
Perfect.
I fucking love the show. My friend and I have been fucking obsessed with it for like the last 2 months.
On the topic of audiobooks, and to tie it back into another series we brought up, if you want to listen to the Dresden Files, because a lot of people highly rate the audiobooks for those,
That's what I've seen, yeah.
it's fucking James Marsters does the reading.
I'm not sure who that is.
If you've ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's
Oh!
Spike.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay. That does sound good.
Yeah, so like picture that voice reading to you.
I'm picturing
You
it.
get why it's highly rated. Which real quick update on that. According to his website, Butcher is about 42% done with the next book.
Oh shit. That would be
So-
what? Book number 13? There's a fuck ton of books in that series.
You're about 7 books off.
Book number 20?
There was supposed to be, I think, originally a dozen, which got expanded, I think, to 15. I could have these numbers off. But it ended up being to where, like, he's got more than he originally planned.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's going to be a trilogy to cap everything off.
Sheesh.
Because, like, we have... And this is the thing. This is what we know is coming based on word of Jim.
Word of Jim.
Word of God, word of Jim, whatever you want to call it.
I'm gonna call
We
it
have
God
a
Jim
kaiju-
from now on.
We have... Well, word of author, really.
No, I'm just making a joke.
But we have a kaiju-themed one coming.
Ooh, baby.
We have a pro wrestling-themed one coming.
Bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see why I love this series.
Okay.
It is pop culture. It's fucking wizards. It's everything I love with fucking just my entertainment. But yeah, no, and then I think there's one more. I'm trying to remember what the theme of that one is supposed to be. But the one currently being written is called 12 Months, and I can't even give you a fucking synopsis of this one because spoils like 5 other books.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Because it's a big culmination of things. Like, as you read and you get up to where I'm at waiting for the next one, you're going to feel that this is getting into the ramp up for the big apocalyptic trilogy that'll cap everything off. Like, it very much feels like we are starting to get into the end game.
Gotcha. Yeah, just to circle back real quick and dovetail off of Good Omens, I do endeavor to read more Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. So
That is never a bad idea.
So I picked up The Color of Magic, the first Discworld book.
Good.
And
Really, anything in Discworld is just... It's great.
That's
anything in
what I've been
Discworld is going to
told.
be fun.
And then
Watch out for the luggage.
and then I'm going to grab American Gods by Neil Gaiman. And maybe somewhere
If
down
you
the line, Coraline.
If you can get the version of American Gods, that's the... I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's got like 10,000 added words because it's got like, I think 2 or 3 cut chapters. Grab that one.
Okay.
I'm thinking... I think it's that one that's like that. I know there's a version that has more than like the version I read because it came out right after I read it.
Gotcha. I'll be on the search for that.
No, American Gods is real good. Gaiman stuff or Gaiman, however it's pronounced.
It's Gaiman.
His stuff is just, it's great. I have never been disappointed in anything of his that I've read.
Also, if anybody out there is on Blue Sky or Tumblr, follow Neil Gaiman. He's very active on both platforms, and he's just seems like a swell dude.
He engages with the fan base a lot.
Yeah, he
like,
does.
A lot.
He did leave Twitter, though. He did leave Twitter.
If you want probably his best work, in my opinion, read The Sandman.
That's also on my list.
I know that is a long comic series, but it's an amazing run.
Well, there's also the show too.
Yeah, that's on my to watch list. It's getting near the top. I got like 2 other things to finish and then it's up. And I
would
have
read,
heard so much good shit about it.
yeah, it's a good show. Definitely read the comics first because I feel it's one of those things where the show works better when you can see
like-
the differences and spot them
Mm.
and
Yeah,
understand why the difference is happening.
Yeah, it's not a bad adaptation from everything I've heard because it's Gaiman's baby.
Yeah.
And he has how many projects is it that he's canceled because they started changing things he didn't want changed? Like 6?
A lot.
Not sure.
A lot. If you
Like,
yeah.
it's been attempted to be made 5 or 6 times, and it's the one thing he's that, protective of, because if it's going to be made into a series or film or whatever, he's going to make sure it's still his vision.
Yeah, that's how he was with the Good Omens also.
Well, he had to do that for him and Terry,
Yeah.
which could not have been easy.
Okay, so it looks like I can get the box set of Sandman for $170.
In my opinion, it's worth every penny.
Look, things cost a lot of money,
Yes.
right? And I'm firmly in the establishment of you should buy things if you know you like them. I'll text you something later. I'll DM you something later.
Okay.
So you can read shit, all right? Because like,
Look, I used to have them all in a
cost
PDF,
money.
and
Yeah,
I
things
don't know
cost
where
money.
that fucking micro SD card went.
Listen,
And I'm
listen
so
here.
mad about
Yeah,
it.
but you can find it again.
That's how I'm reading Berserk. So
Yeah,
it's fair.
Like if you can afford it, you can afford it. But also, like if it's your first time doing it, there's a lot of things I've read on the internet. I don't own because it costs money, and I'm an adult. And I don't have enough money to buy it all.
right.
If I could, I would. Fucking Sandman's like 1,000 fucking comics. Like
Yeah. And that's if we're counting just the main run, because there's 2 offshoots.
Oh, this box set includes like 4 extra books after number 10. Volume 10, it looks like. Or no, 3 extra after volume 11.
I'm gonna say that sounds right. I'm gonna say I didn't think there were 4, but no, 3 sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, the total number of books in this box set is 14.
see, because it's like if you're gonna read Sandman, you're also gonna read Lucifer after, right? Like,
Which, yes, the show Lucifer is based off of that series.
yeah.
Did not know
But
that.
I mean, like, you're gonna read, but yeah, it's also based on a comic called Lucifer because it's literally the events of Sandman lead directly into the Lucifer comic, and so
Yeah.
like, so if you're gonna read Sandman, you're probably gonna read Lucifer too. I would include those in any type of.
Didn't he catch some shit for his depiction of Lucifer?
I don't know, and I wouldn't care. Like,
I'm trying to remember. Can't remember if he did or
I'm sure
not.
he did. I'm sure he did.
Well, yeah, because he makes him look sexy.
Yeah, probably. He probably caught
Because he
shit from
makes them
like
with-
religious fundamentalists.
He also makes him like a 3-dimensional character, so I'm sure there's some people who are lazy. But like, I also just watched a video about like, do you remember when Pokemon was considered to be by the devil? And I was like, yeah, I do. People are stupid.
Yeah. You can always chalk up a lot of things to just people are stupid.
No. It's technically in the DC universe, isn't it?
It's not technically, it is. I mean, the first Sandman, like the first like issues of Sandman literally talk about the DC character Sandman.
No, the first issues were not part of DC. That's why they had to be a little
No. It was DC's like, it was like an imprint DC did. It was I forgot what it's called. But like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But yeah, no, it was DC. Literally, the first issues do reference the DC character Sandman. And then like, I think it's like when Sandman does his thing and he starts like the story, he literally goes and visits. He visits the Justice League, and at the time, the 2 people are like, I remember one's Martian Manhunter, and the other one's, I can't remember if it's like the Atom.
He does not start it by visiting the Justice League.
It's the first thing he does, like right after he gets out, when he starts looking for his shit. He does meet up with the Justice League because he's trying to find a stone, which is being held by the DC villain, uh, uh, Doctor Slate. Fucking fuck, what's his name?
Doctor, is it
To do with the
Doctor
skull
Fate?
face. It's to do with the skull face.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's
I'm trying to
been a
remember.
while.
Something Sleep. Doctor Sleep. No, that's Mr. Bones. It's not.
It's been a long time
Yeah,
since I read them.
Doctor Destiny.
Yes, there you go.
So yeah, and he's like, okay, he was taken by the Justice League. I'm gonna see if they found his thing, and like the people at the Watchtower are Martian Manhunter and someone else. And I remember because Martian Manhunter sees Morpheus as he would see him from his people's point of view.
Yeah, which isn't it a big flaming head or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah. So it's like, yeah, no, it was one of those things where it's like it's in the DC universe, but I forgot what the label was called, but it was called something back in the day, which was a way to kind of sit there and be like, this is for mature people. Like it's DC stuff, but kids shouldn't be reading these books.
I thought the first couple weren't because, like, at one point, these like it's depicted where it's supposed to be him talking to like Batman and Robin, but like they did it in such a way that they didn't outright state or show, but it's very much implied.
Okay, it looks like it was published under DC from 1989 to 93. Then it was Vertigo from 93 to 2020. And then DC Black Label from 2020 to present.
I might be thinking of when it was under Vertigo then. Since it was already established it was there, they couldn't actually directly reference while it was under Vertigo.
I it's one of those things where like I'm not sure. I know Vertigo, like it might have been one of those things where Vertigo was like you can say certain characters but not others, that sounds like a very DC thing to do.
Like because I remember there's parts where like in the background, like it's shown known characters, but they're drawn just off enough so that they wouldn't get in trouble. But so you understand who's supposed to be there.
Yeah, that does sound like something Vertigo would do, where it's like, you want to use Martian Manhunter? Fucking fine. Who gives a fuck? Don't say Batman or Superman. And I'm like, that sounds like a DC thing they would do.
Also, technically part of the Marvel universe as well.
That is one writer/artist who just wanted to fucking put it in there. Neil Gaiman has seen that and went, he didn't say shit to me. So
but he also didn't what's the word I'm looking for?
Neil Gaiman wasn't happy about it.
I don't remember him actually giving that much of a shit about it.
The one interview I saw from him, he wasn't particularly thrilled about it. He was very adamant that it's not her. That's not her. That's not.
See, I don't.
That's like I said, but it's also Neil Gaiman, who, much like every fucking comic book writer from like back then, has changed his opinions on how he feels about certain things quite a bit. So maybe there was a point in time when he was cool with it, and then he got a little older, got not cool with it, and then maybe wrapped around to being cool with it again.
Okay, I'm reading an article on it right now on that. Continue on. I'll let you know once I get to where it's mentioned, because if it's going to mention if he didn't.
So Matt, there's a character in Sandman who's called Death. She's the personification of death.
She's hot.
And Neil Gaiman has been very adamant that Neil Gaiman now has been very adamant that he likes his characters, that he considers his characters. Despite appearing in the DC universe and meeting DC characters, he does not like to consider them DC characters. He has gone on record on being like, I don't want my characters meeting like Superman.
I got it right here. Okay. If there's any doubt that this character isn't a cameo by the DC Comics character, writer Peter David confirmed to CBR that this was in fact a Neil Gaiman approved appearance of Death of the Endless.
So that's what I'm saying, but like, that's what I'm saying. I get you got to find Neil's thing. 'Cause I remember reading something where Neil said he did fucking not, and so that's what's like. Anyway, the point is that that's a character in that, right? In a Hulk book, some years later, right? I believe it's like Hulk's best friend, fucking Rick Jones, is getting married,
Yeah.
and a character who looks suspiciously, though we never see their face, but looks suspiciously a lot like Death from the Sandman, shows up to be like, "Hey, congratulations!" Right? During the wedding, and it's like, "Oh, that's cool." And like I said, as you
Well,
can
it's
see, there's some.
significant because this character that notices her has died and come back before.
Yes. Um, and there's been some debate because, as you can see, conflicting things where it's like, I mean, it's cool, but
Well,
also
this
writers,
article is as of last year.
yeah. But like I said, that article says, I'm sure Peter David, the writer, is totally like, oh yeah, no, it's no problem.
Well,
Like,
what I'm
yeah,
saying is this article was written September of 2022.
yeah,
So
but
not
like,
exactly last year. Fuck off, it's still only January.
yeah,
Um
it
so I
shows
would
up and
think that
it's
would be the most up to date info. So
and so that happens, and that happens sometimes where writers and stuff like to put little characters in it. It happened not too long ago in like a either Justice League, or I want to say like a Superman. I think it was a Justice League comic where someone is mentioning, talking about like things that could happen in the future to the Justice League, right? And in the panels where he's like showing like, oh, what could happen, you see some stuff. There's something happened with Batman and Robin that I can't goddamn remember. But the one that was important is it's a little panel, Superman being punched by someone with a big green arm while he's getting hit in the head by a giant flying hammer, right? So it's like, oh, and people of course went nuts because it's like, yo, and it's just the writer going, I just wanted, right?
well,
And of
here's the
course,
thing.
Marvel goes, "Shut the fuck up." No, it's not because it's Marvel. But you know,
Well, technically he's gotten out even with Marvel. He can say it's a reference to the Amalgam universe.
yeah, he could.
And then he can basically just throw the finger to both of them and be like, "Ha ha! You agreed
Yeah.
with it back then. I can reference that shit."
So yeah, it's comics love doing that. I remember watching the Superman the animated series, and in the last episode of that, like the last few episodes of that series deal with like Darkseid, a big bad guy showing up, and in the process, like a supporting character, a guy named Dan Turpin, he's like a cop he's like a supporting character, you know, ends up getting killed. So, and in the finale of Superman the Animated Series, they have a little like a funeral for the character Dan Turpin. Dan Turpin was created by I'm so bad with names. I'm doing bad with names tonight. Ooh,
Are you
Jack
essentially
Kirby.
saying he's
Jack Kirby.
Superman's Harley?
He was created by Jack Kirby in the comics.
Oh, okay.
Decades ago, you know. So to celebrate, you know, and also Jack Kirby, I think, had recently died within like a few years of that happening. So to like celebrate it at the funeral for this character who was created by Jack Kirby is what is very clearly tons of Jack Kirby characters, like, you know, the Fantastic Four and stuff.
Yeah. Ones that really shouldn't be there.
Which, well, yeah, legally
Yeah, that.
in the Superman show. So like, but you know, it's also why if you ever go watch that, I'm sure like on any official streaming service, you will see not those characters.
You said that's the
Digital replacements.
you said that's the Superman animated series
Yeah.
in the finale?
Yeah. Somewhere in the finale. I don't know if it's the final episode or second final. I feel like it's the final episode. I feel it's like the final shot. If you look all on YouTube, you'll probably be able to. You'll have people put.
I'm literally on Max right now because it's the official streaming for it. So I'm
And
checking
so
to see
yeah,
if it's on here.
I don't know. Yeah, see if they changed it or not. It's
Legacy
also,
Part 2.
that sounds right. Yeah, it's also like, there's also like on top of that, on top of like Jack Kirby characters, there's also like, oh look, that's the writers and artists who worked on the series Superman,
Okay,
stuff like
it's
that too.
not
The obvious
legacy.
one, yeah. Let me see.
Well, no, there's no funeral in this episode. I'm skimming through. It's not legacy.
Yeah, it does say legacy. Should be legacy. It might literally be towards the end, but like I'm pretty sure it's legacy part 2. Legacy part 2.
Well, legacy part 2 for me, from what I'm looking at here, ends with him hugging Lois on top of a building.
It's fucking goddamn. Yeah, we're both like searching frantically for this goddamn.
Go, 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 go.
I don't think it's the finale episode.
Apocalypse Now Part 2 is the name of the episode.
Which season?
It's the same season that one's at Legacy in, because it's like Apocalypse Now is when Darkseid shows up. See, yeah. Episode. It's production 33 and 35. I think air date should be 38 or 39. So 39, I think, if you're looking at episode number.
Episode number 38 or 39?
Yeah, it should be called Apocalypse Now in part 1 and 2. Yeah, so like that happens, and then like it's
Yeah, that's season 2, not season 3.
Oh, okay. Fuck, I didn't even know there was a third season. I thought there was only like fucking 2 seasons. But yeah, writers love to do that. They like referencing other people, and lots of times the writers who are getting referenced don't like, especially if they're older. Like nowadays, I think you'll find a lot of writers are pretty chill with each other, right? But fucking back in the day, like fucking a lot of writers don't like it when other writers mention them or stuff like that. There's something about it. They don't like it. They don't enjoy it. Don't know why.
I'm not seeing anybody in the crowd that's recognizably supposed to be anybody.
That's why I said like it got changed. You can't see it now. If you look on YouTube, you'll find comparisons where people are like, I mean, there's Mr. Fantastic right there with Sue Storm and Johnny. And I guess they don't have Grimm because that would be weird to see a human Grimm. But like, yeah, they edited that shit out. Yeah. Speaking of comics, if you like Spider-Man, go read Ultimate Spider-Man.
I've been meaning to reread Ultimate Spider-Man.
There's a new Ultimate Spider-Man comic that just came out.
Ah, yeah. I have heard about it. I don't know really anything about it, but I knew they were rebooting Ultimate.
Hey, guess what?
Is it good?
Just go read it. It's like one paperback right now. I think that's 2 issues. Just read it. You don't need. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about what it is. Don't worry about how it happened. I could sit there and tell you about how it came to be, but it doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is that there's a cool Spider-Man book. It'll explain to you how the world is, because it's pretty nuts.
I'm seeing a lot of outlets saying that it's Marvel's first big hit of 2024.
I just watched a clip from the WGN. It's got the WGN thing in the corner, and it did not have any recognizable characters.
When we finish up, I will personally go look for it and find it and show you, just so it's done. But yeah, it's really cool. It's the premise of the new Spider-Man book is actually really cool because it's like, hey, Peter's like 35 and he has a wife and 2 kids and maybe having a midlife crisis. And the solution to that.
Okay, no, I'm watching an explanation now, and a couple of these are real big stretches.
And the
like
it seems like the cure to his midlife crisis is maybe to get bitten by a radioactive spider.
Okay, and
do it again, baby.
It is on the HBO Max version, but here's my issue. They're pointing to a generic tall brown-haired guy and a generic blonde and claiming it's Reed and Sue.
Okay, because in the original versions,
no, I'm looking at a cut. No, I'm looking at a cut from the original airing. It's a reach. I will give you the guy behind them does look like Nick Fury, which then would lead towards it being them. Yeah. But straight up saying they're drawn to look like them is a goddamn reach.
It's not a reach because the writers and artists have said, yeah, we drew them as close as we could without getting in trouble.
Well, no, I'm saying
oh, yeah.
I'm saying going based on just look.
Oh, just
It's
look,
reach. It is a reach. If you have word of God on it, then fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But like going based on just looking, I can't agree that those two are supposed to be Sue and Reed. I'll give you the guy between them does look straight up like Nick Fury because it's older dude, brown hair with the silver wingtips and an eye patch. It's kind of a very unique profile.
That's
for
pretty on the
comics.
nose.
So like I'll give you that one, which then like I said, I'll give you then gives credibility to the claim it's Reed and Sue, but just looking at them, I don't agree.
So, what do you say we wrap this up with a post from r/Am I the Asshole?
Sure.
All right. So the title of this post is "Am I the asshole for not inviting my brother's children to my son's birthday?" My brother Brian's two children, Matt and Stacy, are really obnoxious towards the other children in the family. Matt is very rowdy and rough when playing with the other children, while Stacy is really mean and critical. With them around, there's almost always a guaranteed crying child at the end of the day. They're basically just bullies, and all the other children dread their visit. Me and my other siblings have asked Brian and his wife to address this issue, but they always dismiss it as kids being kids every time. Even his in-laws have at one point brought up that their kids have behavioral issues, but alas, they refuse to do anything about it. A few days ago, my son Luke had his birthday. When we were planning for it, before even asking for gifts, the first thing Luke asked for was to not invite Matt and Stacy. I knew exactly where he was coming from, and after a short discussion with my wife, we agreed to respect his wishes. I then informed Brian that his children were not invited as per Luke's request. As expected, he went on a rant about how this was unfair and low because they're just kids, but I made it clear that my son was not to blame and that the behavior of his children is the problem. Even some of the other kids we invited declined because they thought Matt and Stacy would be there. The conversation...
It's you're good to go. As someone who has a lot of siblings and as someone who has a lot of family who has a lot of like children and stuff, no, you're good. Straight up, you're good. Fuck your brother sucks. Fuck him.
I'm going to finish reading this, but I do agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
The conversation ended with Brian being mad and promising not to invite us or any of my kids to anything. Nevertheless, we still had the birthday despite his attempts to complain about me to other family members. To be honest, I think I merely respected my son's wishes, but it does seem a little bit cruel. Am I the asshole? No, you're not. And you were respecting your son's wishes, and he's allowed to draw those boundaries because it's his fucking birthday.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
like I have a family with a lot of siblings. I have a family with a lot of siblings of nieces and nephews and uncles and shit, right? Fucking, I don't invite fucking people over if I don't want to, like on birthdays and shit,
Especially if it's like family that's basically bullying you.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people don't like fucking, whatever, man. It's a birthday party. You invite who you want to invite. You ain't gotta invite shit if you don't. If you want to have, if your kid just wants his birthday party with just like him and you, the parents, fucking cool,
Yeah.
It's his party,
I actually had kind of, it wasn't a sibling thing. It was more of just a people in my friend circle thing happened recently. A couple of years ago, I didn't invite a certain couple to my birthday party because they have a very or had at least a misbehaved 6-year-old kid, and I didn't want to deal with that on my birthday. And they got really pissed about it. So I'm like, well, that's your issue.
I was gonna say, fuck them.
Yeah.
You're adults. You're adults. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
it's your day, so like it's the one day you're allowed to be like that.
It's also like they're adults. Oh no, my friend didn't invite me to his birthday party. Fucking, it's okay.
That part too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like you're an adult. Fucking deal with it like an adult.
So yeah, the verdict, just scrolling through the comments on this, are unanimously not the asshole.
You gotta pick ones where it's real. It's not super obvious that they are art. You gotta pick one where it's like.
Oh, I know. I just thought, let's end on one that's pretty, like, across the board, not the asshole.
And on a good note.
Yeah, I mean, it makes up for ending on the gross sex story from last time with the egg.
Oh yeah, that was so long ago.
God, one of the times I'm glad I smoked so much that my short-term memory is a little damaged because I am blanking.
It's like the couple who was like, "Oh yeah, we did this thing," and I wasn't down with it because I'm someone who's like,
"Oh,
the title of
I remember.
The title of the post was "Today I fucked up by laying an egg during sex."
Yeah. Now I remember.
And I'm someone who's like, I understand talking about like sex stuff with friends, right?
Yeah, but that is that it's different when you post about it on
the
Reddit.
Internet.
Yeah.
You don't tweet that. You don't fucking like tell it. It's just bad.
And to be fair, it was funny.
Like having an OnlyFans is one thing. Posting that, no, that's one of those things. It's like, okay, that happened. Everybody in here, like the two of us, doesn't leave us. If we have to go to the hospital, well, fuck. But we never speak of it again.
Yeah.
No, you don't post that shit to Reddit.
Don't tell people.
Yeah, I'll peruse Am I the Asshole to save more stories for next time. But until then, that's gonna be this episode of After Dark. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
See y'all later.
That was very unenthusiastic.
Yeah, well.
Let's just end it on that. Yeah, well.
Yeah, well.
That's kind of what I figured.
What are you gonna do about it, huh?
Nothing.
You say something funny.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the prom?
Because he didn't have a boner. Because he was afraid of having a boner.
Well, he had no body to go with.
Boo.
Listen, I never claimed to be a comedian. All right, bye.